Excuse me. Hi, hello, welcome to the Oracle Councilorship, brought to you by Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene, Priestess of Losi. I'll be your Oracle today. If anything that is said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book sessions, send a donation. I want to take a minute and just welcome all the new subscribers. You belong, welcome home. The current subscribers, welcome back. The A1, day one, I appreciate you, your gifts, your donations, your love. We've had a message coming in for a while. I'm kind of confused as to what it is. Me personally, I'm seeing more expert abuse, more cunning, baffling, deceptive, pernicious, insidious toxicity, and people that know what they're doing. It's not accidental, it's not unintentional, it's the exact opposite. They're wanting to cause harm, they don't care about their impact. And this is all stemming from us leaving people behind, moving on, moving forward. So I want to get into this energy. Again, if anything that is said resonates deeply with you, go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, leave a review, book a session, send a donation. This is a general reading, so there's some things I want to talk about which need to be confirmed personally according to you and your own energy, you and your own life, and whatever's going on around you, the energies, the entities, maybe the enemies or the ideologies around. If you can't go find the resources online or in your support group, you would need to contact me. I put all the information in the show notes. It doesn't sound well when you're in the comments saying you don't know how to contact me. It's very clearly laid out. And if it didn't find you or you didn't find it, that's a sign as well. I mean that for the purposes of healing and ascending, okay? I don't participate in the comments. It's never gonna happen, ever. And there's specific reasons for that. The most you'll get from me is a heart or a like, and that's it. This is a common practice among YouTube people. So, okay, and love and light, peace and blessings and happiness and harmony and merriment and ferryment and gaiety, la-di-da and yada-yada. Okay, so let's get in here. We've got to move on, move forward. Or what I'm getting is that we recently had some kind of victory, some kind of triumph. We came into some massive long-term healing on the soul level. We might have elevated, upgraded, bossed up, glowed up in some kind of way. The results might not have popped yet, I'm getting. The thing about it is we found love, we found inspiration, bliss, grace, harmony, unity, abundance with the universe. And also, you know, we got eyes on us. People are looking to us and we have some kind of sparkly about it. So we got that juice, we got that base. It's the star card keeps coming back like nearly every time, even look bottom of the deck. Okay, but the devil. So this means a dark future or pessimism, and also could be some rain on parade. I was gonna say somebody's trying to ish on us. You know, listen, this is, you know, okay. So I'm being told to tell, like, listen, we're about to go through a little time period, who knows how long, but it's quick or it's a blip or whatever, in relative to everything else. It ain't all that, but there's this little bout of our understanding, our growth, our evolution, understanding that some of the toxicity in our relationships, some of the problems we're having is not accidental. And we've already won, but we're gonna go through, I hate this word, it's a test. Yeah, everything is a test to me, so I have clarity and semantics, and you know, to me it's a splitting hair. If we're all up in our feelings, why, instead of understanding the devil does what the devil does, hate is gonna hate, play is gonna play, hoes gonna hoe around. That's what it is, what it's gonna be. At the end of the day, we should be about that. We should move on from that. There's just a thing, like, I would rather say of myself, you know, umbrella to override everything that's coming out and coming through. we need to go from acceptance to adaptation, and acceptance is actually harder than adaptation. You know, whatever's happening is whatever happening. Karma is just that it purifies by expediting experience. Okay, so if you suppress, repress things alive in you so much that you have to project them out into the world, environment, surrounding locations, people, places, and things, then we'll actually attract those in our karmic relationships, and that's karma. Karma can only be experienced in the same mind frame and the same frequency, energy, vibration that in which it was incurred, in which the imprint was made. So if we're not going through it in this time, we'll go through it in the next lifetime. And if we didn't do nothing in this lifetime to experience that, then it's for a previous lifetime. And that means around the corner, when we get through to the other side of whatever that karma, whatever frequency, energy, vibration that karma is coming in, when we get to a higher frequency vibration, when we repel it or move through it, there's always a blessing, especially when you didn't incur that karma in this lifetime. When you work it out, when you work through it, there's a blessing on the other side. It might be delayed. It might, I'll be honest, take up to 18 months to really pull through, come through. If you're attached to somebody, it could take 25, 29 months. But that's what it is, how it is. And these are very higher spiritual laws, mechanics. You got to understand some things. And a lot of people look at me and they're all up in my face. Where did you learn this? Where can I go find? If y'all hosts think you can read up on shit on Google or whatever, you off base. Okay, you got to get with God. You got to be guided by sight, not by faith. And there is a whole library you can access, but it's not in some book. It's not in some little nook. It's not on some little Google, whatever, what have you. And I don't want to shame on it's none of that. Three of Swords, the Eight of Cups is here, but we also keep getting this Eight of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles. So we're working on having our land of milk and honey. We're learning on having our own little space to really derive what we need. We're really focused on something. I've been noticing that it's not clear what we're focused on. And it could just be honoring the fact that we were distracted from our work, whatever that was, whatever that looks like. What I'm trying to say is, I would advise, regardless of what I'm about to explain or whatever, I would just give you the medicine right now, the guidance right now. Work on your adaptability, okay, please. And in order to really sit and to hold the adaptability, you really need to learn acceptance. We really need to learn acceptance. It don't matter what's happening, it's happening. The situation has come to us, okay? So there's eustress and there's distress. Distress is fine once in a while. It's when it's chronic stress that it can make you sick. So the Sikhs, the Hindus, the niyamas, the things we try to avoid because they hinder our spiritual practice: ego, pride, lust, anger, and it's some version of envy or jealousy or whatever or what have you. I mean, to me, envy is a disease. Jealousy is an understanding that you could have more. When you feel a jealous feeling, it means you either have skin in the game or an unmet need. Okay, it's envy is that graduated thing, nearly clinical. Okay, so adaptability and acceptance. Acceptance comes first. Whatever's happening is whatever's happening. The stress is another word for karma. There's something to move through. A process, heal from, graduate on from, ascend, accomplish, achieve from, and we should really just be about that. Six of Swords, move through. Okay, a lot of us balk and get stuck and start crying and complaining because we have an experience that the universe brought to us for our healing, for our growth. So that means we're blocking and hindering. So this is telling me that I basically gave the medicine, but I haven't gone to the cards, so it's disorienting. Maybe this was a quick message, because this is a beautiful teaching or a beautiful teacher, but we didn't get to start with the Tower. I would have had to shuffle for that. I know I was ranking through the cards, but I was really clearing the deck, so I'm disoriented. I wanted to itemize, to discuss, to have some discourse about the different tactics that people are using, because I'm just so tired of people whining and complaining and whatever and what have you about the experience they're having. I know it sucks. I know life has come for you, karma's come for you, and you've got to grow up and you've got to get with the program. But basically, you're being asked to evolve. And listen, ho, if you're not going to lay down and die, you better stand up and live your life. At the end of the day, this is what it's going to be. Now, I don't want to invalidate your experience. I don't want to dismiss your feelings, but I don't actually care about your feelings. I'm never gonna. The real reality, the situation that probably nobody's saying to you is your feelings inform your experience. What kind of experience are you having, and how has that told you what needs that you need to get met better and bigger and brighter in the future? And put your time, energy, and effort and attention into that. And I want to support you with that. But again, I'm not saying I want to dismiss your feelings and validate your experience, but can't you process that and say, like, la-di-da, yada yada, this is what's up, and this is the pattern, this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm noticing. How do I fix that? So to come to the party, why? Come to the party saying, how can I? What would it look like if? I wonder how to, versus all this disadvantaged stuff, because life is coming for you, karma is coming for you. You're actually about to be blessed, and you're lost in the swamp. So I'm having some issues, and I came to the table because I was like, listen, it's about to get rough. It's about to get worse before it gets better. And now we're going to see the devil smiling, laughing in our face as they try to destroy our life, rip us apart, tear us down. So yeah, because this is exactly what's about to happen. The Empress and the Fool card, El Mundo, I was hearing, which is the world, not El Mato, the fool. But so if I'm hearing the world, we've had some achievement, some accomplishment. We've grown through something as well. The world card comes out when you filled your cup. You've gone through all the little loops. You know, like when you have a project and there's 10 steps to it. So you've done all the other 9 steps. The versus the fool, the world card is the full cup. This is the empty cup. Remember, the cup is refillable. Stop worrying about the cup being half empty, half full, trying to argue, trying to prove a point, trying to make a point, whatever, what have you. The cup is refillable. That's what life is. It's the refillable cup. Okay. So in this situation, in this experience that's coming or about to end for some of us, we're about to get bossed up, blowed up, blessed up, leveled up, because we've completed something, and our slate's about to be wiped clean, or our timeline's about to be restored or reset or whatever, or what have you. Okay. And we really just got to understand, people gonna come at us, come for us. It's not always gonna be actual people. Sometimes it could be reminders of old trauma, old wounds. Me personally, I keep hearing the same name of somebody I'm never gonna F with again. It doesn't matter if they've healed, if they've recovered, if whatever, if what have you. Take those lessons into new relationships. I'm not gonna rekindle, recoup, rejuvenate, recapture, reconcile old connections. Okay, that's just at the end of the day, that's what it's gonna be. There's also a lot of magic being done. Magic is turning an idea and intention into reality, whether it is energy projection, spiritual manipulation, or it's just, you know, really strong focus. A very focused, concentrated mind doesn't need candles and la-di-da and yada yada, you know, an altar or what have you. If somebody is fixated on something and they have a strong enough genealogy, that's really all it takes, especially if it's month after month. Especially if that's all they see, especially if it's the first thing, last thing on their mind every day. That's really any extra energy, any special little transit is gonna help their intentions manifest. That's what I'm talking about, magic. So people are using magic, whether intentionally, unintentionally, and we're getting all those little reconciles or reminders or whatever. It might be seeing their birthday, it might be seeing their name, it might be having run-ins with them, you know, and unless the hoe on the other side is saying, but coming directly towards us, being like, this is what I want, this is what I'm about, here's my intention, here's my need. We shouldn't go out of our way to do nothing, to figure it out, to reconcile. It happened. okay? Whatever went down is whatever went down. Whatever is up is what got stuck, okay? They did what they did, we did what we did. The experience was what it was, and we felt what we felt. So that's what it is, living with grief, okay? So we are feeling some kind of way. And it's nothing wrong to feel, it's nothing wrong to have an emotional vibration, it's nothing wrong to have a multitude of emotions and to be left with feelings. But move through it and don't get stuck there. And this why, it's different if you're like, what is happening versus like, why did they do this to me? Why is it happening to me? I get that sometimes we're shell shocked and traumatized and we need to know patterns and make observations. And that's different than wallowing and wailing, harping and yodeling, quabbling and quibbling up in some feelings. There's a difference between being like, what happens if the ground starts shaking? You want to feel like you want to know if bombs are dropping or it's just an earthquake, or if some building is being demolished nearby. You know what I mean? Like I was walking and some of the streets were closed down around my house, and come to find out there was this whole building that had burned down. And they were doing like criminal investigations. Actually turned out somebody set fire to it. And I'm not like, why is the path to the grocery store blocked? What's going on my running path? I was just like, what is happening? Versus why can't I take this street? Every single time I go by, why can't I take this street? And I'm pretty set in my ways. I like what I like. But I had to relinquish, I had to surrender, I had to let go, let God. And in the letting go, letting God, I found this whole narrative that really informed my perspective, or newly informed my perspective. Does that make sense? And if I was just rigid and fixated on what I wanted, I would have not had this whole new narrative. And that's just the thing. That's a cop out when you're like, why? It's a cop out. It's a way of soothing oneself. And I'll tell you, if you do get answers in the why, the soothing is very, very temporary. It's it's not healthy. I'll be honest. You'll get answers for a day, you'll be told for a day, but money don't fix money problems. An intelligent moment doesn't fix stupid problems. There needs to be a fundamental change. Okay. So that's what's up. I just needed to come out with it. That's where we're at today. And listen, it wasn't my intention to comfort anybody. Sometimes I will and I won't care about the impact. But today, that wasn't my intention. I keep getting all these higher level lessons, and then I'm brought back to earth, and me personally, I don't know how to reconcile it. That's not an excuse. I'll be accountable for whatever I'm doing. If I'm contributing to experience that's harmful for you, I'm going to need to flesh it out and understand more, but it's not my intention. And it's why we're here. It's why I'm here. I'm a light worker. I deal in the white light. So I've got to figure it out. But that's just where I'm at. Me personally sharing to you. Sometimes I don't know what humans do or how to be about that. It doesn't make sense to me, and I never got that education. Your chart. So it's just talking about destiny, birth, things of that nature. Risking failure, the brass ring. See what I was saying, reputation. There's something about our life is going to change. Our name is going to have different cachet, and people are seeing us reach out and grab the ring, and people are going to want to attach themselves to us so they can share in the glory. And it's really not going to happen. That's also part of the reason why our blessings are delayed. It's because it's people, places, things, environments, surrounding locations, entities, enemies, ideologies, energies that don't need to be attached to us. Okay. That's what it is. That's what it looks like. The awaken. We're out of the sunken place. Pardon the squiggles. I changed my mind mid draw. I'll get another deck. But we came up out of the sunken place. We had some kind of teaching or lesson or learning. And listen, we were. Oh gosh, this is the worst I've seen. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, we have three. This is actually dark blue, but we have three dark colored cards here. Usually it's two, and I thought it was two. I thought it was Femme Fatale and vampire, which is 2 black cards. Oh, honey. Okay, let me talk about this. So in the distant past, we had vampire. People were leeching on, sucking on our energy. They were using us to some ends. We were their supply to them. And it was malignant, period, point blank. There's no coloring it. A vampire is a parasite. It's a Domphiric demon. Domphir is a class of demons that feed on other. They're parasitic. It's a parasitic class. Succubi, incubi, vampires, there's a handful of other. And there's different chi to feed on: sexual chi, blood, sex, for, blood source, sex, life force. There's different things to feed on. So that's what a vampire is, period, point blank. There was probably this covert aspect. It wasn't overt. And if it was overt, they would have to lull us to sleep or gaslight us or something of that nature, deny our reality. And then we moved into the thief, and that's what we've recently come through. So people have been taking things from us without our permission, without, there hasn't been a mutually beneficial needs exchange. There hasn't been some equanimity. And people think they lack things, and it's because we possess these characteristics, these qualities, these traits that make them jealous, because they know that that's what's attracting our blessings. And ultimately, that's what it is. We are receiving blessings. We have blessings. We're blessed. We're chosen. We're anointed. We're favored. We're sitting pretty, right? And if it's not in this life, if we're still suffering and are struggling in some way, spiritually, we sit very high. We're high ranking. And people feel some kind of way about it because they're never going to be able to do, they're never going to try to do the things that we're doing. I wake up in the morning, early in the morning, and I crunch out miles. I mean, I'm doing kilometers at a time. I tell people about that, and they're like, I can never wake up at 4 in the morning. I can never run 10 kilometers daily. Okay, then you're right, you can't. I couldn't when I started, right? So, there's this model that I have out there. I don't have a personal connection with her. She's not directly a mentor, but she was this little girl running into the police academy, running into the federal academy, police academy, the federal agent academy. And her family, her friends, they were like, why would you ever do that? Who are you to think you can make it? And she's like, I don't know, but I'd rather have somebody else tell me no than me tell myself. So this is the thing with these people, with these miserable souls around us, with these bitter souls around us, they're like, I could never. Well, you can't, because that's what you're telling yourself. Have you even tried? You can fail your way into success. Sometimes I get out there and I can only run a handful of kilometers, and other days I'm exceeding my normal training regimen. You really got to just get in the game to win the game. And if you're on the sidelines thinking I can never, then you're never gonna. Okay, that's what it is, how it is. So we've also come through this. Right now we're dealing with this. This is what brought me to the table. Right now we're dealing with this Femme Fatale energy. We recently had thieves, people trying to take things from us: time, energy, effort, attention, resources, reputation, clout, abundance. We have celestial sovereign endowment, celestial sovereign abundance on the way. And people are looking at us thinking like, oh, you don't deserve that. Or if I had ABC like you, I had XYZ. You ain't doing nothing with whatever you got. And I don't know why you're the one who was chosen for this. Or we were dealing with that. Now we're in this Femme Fatale energy. People are coming to us because they couldn't beat us, so now they're trying to join us. And they're making requests, they're making whatever, what have you. It's not working. They're getting bunked back, repelled, rebuked, rejected. We're rescinding our offers, we're revoking access, and they don't like that. They're actually acting out because they have a dependency and it was rejected, but they have some schema, some narrative, and we're choosing to opt out, to not join. And that's a problem for them. I'm sorry, it's what it is, how it is. At the end of the day, we got to be about that. You're on some F shit. And we decided to heal. We decided to evolve, to ascend. So we're just further along in our healing. There's nothing wrong with you. Kindness, caring, compassion, blessings to your healing. please get up on that. And they're not even able to hear that. You know, we set a boundary, we set a standard, we inform them, instruct them on who they are. We educate them on how to, attempt to educate them on how to reconcile the gap, how to reconcile the difference in their hearing other things, taking things personally. You know, if you get to the end of the crosswalk and if you get to the end of the block and it's a red light, are you going to throw a tantrum, or are you going to wait till it's a green light to cross the street? You know, if you're driving down the road and you get to a red light and you can't go into the intersection because it's going to cause harm, are you going to throw a tantrum, or are you going to wait till the light turns green and you can go on about your business with a clear, open road? You know, people got these little things. They got these little things they do that they think, that they feel, or whatever, and they act out and they do whatever, what have you. If reality for you is warped, you're a miserable soul. You're a bitter soul. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you're at a lower level of your healing. You're at the beginning of the race, and the race is over when you get to go back to the divine realms and the higher realms. But the thing about this is like, accept and adapt. It doesn't need to be pleasant. You don't need to like what's going on. Some things really suck. You know, but on the other side is growth. And honestly, life doesn't happen inside the comfort. So a little bit of stress builds you, a little bit more stress builds you more, a little bit, and then eventually one day you're strong and mighty. Does that make sense? In order to have courage, you must be brave, but doesn't mean that you lack fear. It means you can act in the despite, and you can act in the face of fear. In order to be strong, you must have strength. It doesn't mean one day you go from a weakling to a strong person. It means you build up a little bit at a little bit at a little bit at a time. People are thinking like, oh, all of a sudden, it's never how it happens. I don't understand that. All of a sudden, sometimes you get informed of something because the last straw happens, and you put a book on the shelf and it breaks, but it doesn't mean that whole time the shelf wasn't having little stress fractures. Sometimes if something's happening all of a sudden, you get informed, it gets forced down your throat, it gets thrown in your face all of a sudden, but it doesn't mean that it wasn't there the whole time. And if you want some positive, abundant blessing, you gotta build. You gotta put in the work. I guess what I'm saying, time, energy, effort, attention, put in the work. When I was growing up and getting trained in business by my mentors, by my models, by my coaches and my teachers and my elders and whatever and what have you, they would say putting in minutes. That was a thing in B school, putting in minutes. Yeah, you got to put in the minutes. You got to put in the work. That's what it is. That's what it's about. So this Femme Fatale energy, people are needy, they're dependent, they get attitude because everything makes them feel rejected. So that means that you have some toxic-ish, that you are hypervigilant, hypersensitive, and that you have this little narrative or this dependency, and you're expecting somebody else to open themselves up to something that might be toxic for them. And see, people get so offended and agitated and irritated and whatever and what have you. If something is toxic for you, it doesn't mean it's toxic in general. You could be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world. You could have an award-winning peach pie, blue ribbon and everything, in 2-3 counties. What happens if the person you're inviting to eat your pie is allergic to pie, is allergic to gluten, is allergic to peaches with your little award-winning peach pie? Are you going to throw a tantrum and say that they're rude and that they're toxic because you're allergic to peaches? That's just the thing. It's not about you. That people take things personally, and I think we're on the receiving side of this. So it's the other side. We are actually the kind, caring, compassionate ones. We are the ones that put in the minutes. We are the ones that are trying to make these connections, these relationships work. We are the ones that are devastated or shell-shocked or traumatized when things fall apart, and we're like, why? We're the ones that are sitting here months later, years later, thinking about what went wrong and if we could have did something better. All the while, this other person is toxic, is self-absorbed, is entitled, is aggrandizing, is toxic to us. Maybe not in general. Does that make sense? Me personally, I can't be around TVs. The noise, the buzzing, I can't have a TV in the bedroom. I can't have lights on when I sleep. Another person, they can sleep with the light on. Does that make sense? So to me, too much luminescence is toxic. It's going to affect my rhythm. To another person, it's not toxic at all. Does that make sense? So we're being forced into a space where we're going to need to stand in our boundaries. We're going to speak up about things, and we're going to need to understand what's going on. Does that make sense? So when I'm saying accept and adapt, it's going to take care of everything. We need to accept that something's not right, that it's making us feel weird, that our gut check, that our intuition, that our impressions, that our insight, that our intellect is being triggered, our little spidey sense is going off. We're going to need to accept that things are falling apart. If we're standing in our boundaries, if we have a high vibration, people are getting repelled from us. Normally when a person gets repelled from you, it looks to us in this dimension as a conflict, whatever it is, some fight, some disagreement, whatever. And then we're the rational one. We are the one who's like, listen, I'm going to work it out. If we can make this little concession, I can make this bigger compromise, whatever, what have you. And the other side is like, no, or whatever, or you're this, or you're that. We got to let it go. The why of the why, they're trying to understand, they're trying to explain ourselves to fools, trying to reconcile or educate these imbeciles. It doesn't work. Somebody can only hear you if they're wanting to hear you. That's just the thing. So this is the new teaching. This is what we're moving into. This is what we need to know. Because if we don't, we're going to get manipulated, period, point blank, abused, period, point blank. We're going to be left with destructive skills, negative traits, okay? Because that's what people are repelling at us. That's what they're projecting onto us. And that's not what it is, and that's not what it looks like, but that's what we're going to get. That's what we're going to receive. So at the end of the day, we need to have strength. We need to stand in our core. We need to know who we are, what we're about. And it's easier said than done. That's true. Yeah, so we're awakening coming out of the sunken place, but we've had to withdraw to go inside and find soul's wisdom, to look for answers within, because a lot of people outside of us are that narcissistic energy. Now, that's a misnomer, it's a misused word. There is a diagnosis, personality disorder, but there's also what's called a personality style. And there's different personality styles, egocentric, even extroverted, introverted, conscientious. Some people are punctual, that's called conscientiousness. Some people are a little bit off, some people are hours late, just some people are 10 minutes late. That's a personality trait, okay? So multiple traits make up a style, and if a style is rigid and chronic and maladaptive, then you're closer to that disorder or whatever, what have you. But when you see Hermit in reverse, that's narcissism. It's also somebody that's unhappy with themselves, unhappy with life. They can't align with what's going on because they're refusing to go with the flow. The universe is dropping little signs, little signals, and they can't get with the program. They're probably deeply out of touch because they're not even happy being alone with themselves. And it comes off in, I'm going to say, toxic traits where they're quick to rage because they're being brought with insecurity, inadequacy to their face. They're hyper insecure, they're hyper vigilant because they're trying to maintain this pristine narrative. And that's just a semblance of control for them because they're really manipulative so that they can be in control, because that's how they get their supply, which is aggrandizing and affirmation seeking, which means that they're empty inside. They're vacant, vassalous void, basically vapid, vain. And they need to leech, they need to suck other people dry just to get their needs met for 5 minutes. And that's what it is. I'm sorry to put it that way. But that's where we are with things, okay? So that's where we are right now. We're under this Femme Fatale energy. We're under this Hermit energy, and it's reverse. So people are toxic, people are disrespectful of boundaries, but that's just a thing. if you're at war with yourself, you're never going to be at peace with anybody else. So it's not always intentional. Right now, let's say that it is, but it isn't. Like, sometimes people are just wounded and they need healing and they can't heal and they don't know better. And even if they're told to their face, it's going to take them a time to process, and they might not be trying to process at that moment. You know, you could tell a person exactly what's up and they're going to hear something completely different. You can set a boundary saying, yo, don't text me, but you can email me, and they're going to hear all these other things. And that's not our problem. It's not on us. They're hearing you don't want to talk to me or whatever or what have you, and you're really saying, listen, this is unsafe for me over here, but over here I can mess with you, I can work with you, I can F with you. And they're going to hear something else, you know. And that's just what it is, how it is. Now, the lesson that we've already come through is shapeshifters. So people do whatever they need to do to show up however they can just to get their little needs met. Instead of declaring their intention and stating their objective and disclosing what their needs are, they're going to try to shuck and jive and massage and assuage and do all these subterfugal, obfuscating things instead of just being authentic, genuine, and sincere. And that's a problem for them, not for us, because things fall apart. If we're moving in authenticity, if we're going guided by faith, not by sight, yeah, they're wounded, like I said. Dysfunctional relationships, childhood wounds. And we're trying to love on them. We're trying to nurture them. We have unconditional love and patience, but that again is getting us wounded. And we need to just go back to God. That's what we've learned. We've learned to be guided by faith, not by sight. We have values, we have integrity, we have high worth. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. So this didn't go exactly as planned. I think I've said everything, I've channeled everything. And yeah, listen, we are not going to be the kind of person to look at these other people and not have compassion. The thing about evil, the thing about toxicity, especially if it's rigid, maladaptive, highly antagonistic, is that it's not going to change. That's just the thing. We get stuck thinking we could have did something different, we could have changed, and that's it. It happened because it happened. That was the series of events. And if that was the outcome and both parties were not every single step of the way trying to make sure it didn't fall apart, and it fell apart anyways, let it die. The saddest part of a broken heart isn't the ending as much as the start. The tragedy starts from the very first part, losing your mind for the sake of your heart. We want to love, we want to be loved, we want people to like us, we want people to love us, we don't want them to look at us negatively in any way. If you're really empathic, you want to bring healing, you want to leave a person better than you found them. That's what it is, how it is. And to know that you contributed to some outcome that was less than favorable just because you were simply present. And even in every step of the way, you might have been trying to, you know, kick it up a notch, to heal it, to elevate it, to upgrade it. That we've got to let that go. We get a lot of feelings up in the air, Seven of Cups. We get a little bit worked up. Here's what it is, that we have everything in our hand, and alive in us is everything as well. So if this person is defendant, this also means anxious. This is one of those neurotic in reverse. This is when you see that lower grade narc. I don't even want to use that word. That lower grade toxicity is not so rigid. They just can't hear because they're on something. They just can't participate because they're fixated on something, and they eventually grow out of it. But waiting around for the healing is not our job. These are those people that in reverse, Seven of Wands in reverse, these are those people that are always believing that they're at conflict with people or that something's wrong. They're hypervigilance. Okay. Reactivity, they're easily triggered. These are people that don't know how to regulate their emotions. They don't know how to manage their triggers. That's what it is. Okay, so healing, star card, it will come, but they've got to want it. So if things fall apart, it might not be our fault. Okay, and the thing that we need to learn right now is to not be fixated on it. There's going to be a lot of things happening that we should not try to fix. There's going to be a lot of breakups that we should not try to rekindle. There's going to be a lot of things falling apart that we shouldn't put it back together. A lot of things are about to die. We need to let it die. This is Humpty Dumpty season. What did they say? Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Let Humpty be broke. Capiche? Let Humpty be broke. Okay? We don't need to put them together again. Let them die. And it's unfortunate. An empath don't want to hear that ish. I get it. I'm a lover. I have the mother energy. I got a whole bunch in Cancer. I want all the babies to be healthy, to be whole, to be fed, to be happy. And I don't want to see them suffering, but sometimes it's the suffering that heals them. Okay? It's been an honor and a pleasure. This is a delayed message. This is the only way to move forward. We weren't going to get that. We're moving groups. We're ascending. Okay, we're making moves. We're going from this little low vibrational group to this little high vibrational group. It ain't no gonna be pleasant. Okay, it's not gonna be pleasant. It's not gonna happen the way we want it to happen either. So let God, let the universe, let the goddess, let source, Pachamama, Buddha, Allah, Shekinah, Jehovah, whatever, what have you, let the grace, let the Great Spirit reconcile our lives, put it back together the way they deem fit. And the way it's going to look is people, places, and things, environments, and locations is going to be transition. Somebody might leave our life, and then a month later, 3 months later, a better person will come in. Okay, take good care.